This episode of the podcast is brought to you by our partner, Audible.
Yes, it is. So we are partnered with Audible. That means that if you are looking just to check it out, you don't want to put your card in and just take the dive. You can get 30 days for free on us. If you go to audibletrial.com/JATG or click the link down below, you'll be taken there. You can sign up for 30 days for free and just test it out. Like there's a lot of stuff on there that you can get for free, a lot of Audible exclusives. But what I really like about Audible is that out of the hundreds and thousands of audiobooks that they have, if you decide to purchase something, that is yours forever. Like if you decide not to carry on your subscription or you want to take a break or whatever it is, you can always go back and listen to that book whenever you want through the app on the internet. Doesn't matter because it's yours. So once again, you can get that for 30 days for free on us if you go to audibletrial.com/JATG.
All right, fasten your seatbelts. I believe we are live. 151, Greg. I'm Johnny and the Greg.
151. I was going to ask you, I thought about this in the shower of all places.
Ah, nice.
That, and no, I don't often think of you in the shower.
Liar. Go ahead.
Do you have like all the episodes saved? Like, are they on a hard drive? Are they
Technically, YouTube has it all.
YouTube has it all, but then the downloading of YouTube sucks. I was going to do like a super cut of just 150 episodes of me saying, "Don't be a douche."
Yeah, no, I had to throw out. Yeah, I had to throw out a bunch.
To delete footage.
Yeah, I had to delete a bunch of footage. I kept important guests we've had on, things like that, but the ones where it was just randomly you and I just talking about the world, then
most of them.
Yeah, so I just deleted those, but for the most part, everything's on YouTube. YouTube's now my big, or I should say, our big.
Can we still download from there? Like from our?
So. I think so. I have no idea what the computing power, timing, all that stuff would take.
I'll have to check that out. Yeah, that would be hours of.
It would be hours.
Downloading. So,
yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, you might just want to do the first 10. The last 10.
No, I was 150 would go pretty quick.
Or just loop.
Just loop me over and over again.
Yeah, for 150 times. All right, man. How was your weekend?
It was good. It was good. Sorry, I was getting a weird echo there. I finally went out and did a thing this summer. Like our summer has been pretty low key in terms of like getting out to do things.
You mean like
summary things. Yeah, like there was no Gen Con, there was no con at all this year for me. So it was like we finally got through and went to the Renaissance Fair.
Oh, I did too. Yeah.
You did.
I did. So you gotta talk to me a little bit about that. So the Renaissance Fair, is that's up for a month or two?
It goes from I'm sorry, I'm getting like a weird, the playback is not muting, so I'm just getting a weird double echo.
Oh, okay. All right. So yes, while Greg's figuring that out, I went to RenCon with him, which was kind of funny because we barely saw each other, but we brought both our families, and I think we had lunch, and then after that we didn't see each other pretty much.
Yeah, that was really sad.
Yeah, I didn't expect that to happen. I thought we'd bump into you, or I thought we'd reconnect somewhere, but after lunch we went down to where they have the jousting area.
Mm-hmm.
Gwen played on a couple of rides, and then she went to the bathroom, and after the bathroom, just shit went wrong. Like she was just crabby from that point on. Yeah, she was just really crabby from that point on. And I don't know if it was the heat or not. And what's funny was it wasn't it was hot and then it wasn't hot. And then it was hot and then it wasn't
Yeah.
hot. It was really weird. It was kind of a weird thing. And so I feel like I didn't get a full helping
No,
of it.
I would say you did not.
Yeah. And so and even Ursula was saying, like, I wish that would have gone differently because we
Mhm.
felt like we didn't get a full feel for what it was, but it seemed very cool. To the gentleman out there, if you're listening, who was in full character when you talked to me, it wasn't the time. So that's why I didn't respond well to you.
Was he doing like the like
It
the
was just
brief?
a random guy that came up. He was in
Yeah.
like a Viking outfit, I would think. And he
Oh,
was
okay.
like, "Good day, sir. How are you?" And I was like, "What's up?" And he's like, "Well, I see you're riding in some new fancy chariot." I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm just trying to get my daughter through this." Like, I was at the time he got me, I was done. I was like, I can't play
Oh,
with
that's
you.
too bad.
And what's really bad, and but I would think, isn't this almost kind of a rule that if I'm not dressed up, I'm probably not the best to come and try to role play with?
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know what exactly their rules are
I
for
mean, would you say that's a
interaction.
general rule, though?
No, I wouldn't because
You wouldn't. Okay.
I've been in there in plain clothes and people are like, I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt. They'd be like, "Oh, what is this garb you have on?" And then just like they would just like pick at your shirt and be like, "That's." But they're playing. I mean, they're trying
I
to
get
bring
it. I
you
get it.
in.
Yeah.
So yeah, and down by where you were at the end of the jouster, that's like the Queen's Court is in that area.
Okay.
So there's a concentration of them kind of
Okay.
wandering around. Uh, but yeah, it was too bad that we after lunch we just kind of lost track of you guys and that was it.
How
And
how
the
often how often do you go there?
once a year for us.
Okay. Is it that bad all the time with
No,
lines?
no, I have never seen. I mean, the food lines around noon from like 11 to 2, those food lines are going to be bad
Makes
because
sense.
people are getting lunch. Um, I have never seen I've never seen it that busy, and I've been going for 20 plus years. So
Why do you think that is? Do you think that has a possibility that fantasy's kind of opening up to the world now, and or people are getting more
it's
into it?
certainly a combination of things. I think yes, with Dungeons and Dragons and fantasy and that kind of being on the rise, a lot of people are like, "Ooh, there's a Renaissance fair over there. Let's go check it out."
Yeah.
And they go and check it out. The other thing, it was Pirate Weekend, which is always a very popular weekend.
Oh,
It's a Saturday, and Saturday is always the bigger day. Like it's open
okay.
Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Um, and I think there's still a little bit of like the post-COVID, I'm gonna get out in the world kind of thing. Cause
Okay.
even I was thinking about that like last year, you and I, when we went to Gen Con, which was the same weekend a year ago.
That's fair.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it was the first weekend in August when you and I went to Gen Con and
Really? I
but
don't
yeah, it
remember
was. Um, so I mean, and we were still like Gen Con made us wear masks like
that. Yeah.
the whole time we were in. We had to get a wristband that said we were vaccinated. I mean,
Right.
or else they weren't going to let you in. So there was still some remnants of that. I don't know. We didn't do that at Renaissance Fair last year.
Right.
But I think there's just some people that are like, we can really get out in the world like we used to.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it just, we heard like by, somebody listening, or we were listening to some of the workers, they're like, they closed down the parking lot. Like it was full. The
Yeah.
parking lots were absolutely full. They had to turn people away from the fair. Like,
Oh, and say like come back tomorrow.
yeah, people that are trying to pull into the parking lot, they're like, sorry, folks, lot's full. Like, we can't let any more people in.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So we
And
came
I've
on the one
and
day
I've
where everybody decided to come.
yeah, and I've never heard of that. I've never heard of it being so busy that they were turning people away.
Wow.
And that's not to say it doesn't happen, but I've never been there when it's happened.
Wow.
So there was an absolute ton of people.
Yeah.
Did you guys get to walk around shops or did you see anything cool? I mean, was it
That was the problem I felt we had was that we couldn't walk around shops because there were lines to get into the shops.
some of them?
And I just think we were just kind of like, I don't know what's there. I have no idea. I can't see past people. I stood in a couple of lines to see actual armories and weapons and things like that.
Mhm.
But I felt like I couldn't actually spend time because there was the next person that needed to come up and see.
Yep.
I felt rushed.
And I hate to say, and this is going to sound bad, but the best thing for you to experience the Ren Fair for you would be to not bring your daughter.
Probably.
Because I mean, like, being there with kids is just a different experience than
Yeah,
being there without
absolutely.
kids. I mean, we didn't take our kids until like 2-3 years ago, I
Ah,
think.
got
Like
it.
because we're like, one, we just wanted the time away. And because we used to do an overnight. We would go there on Saturday, stay overnight, and then on Sunday we get breakfast at this little place and then come home.
Right.
But the experience changes. I mean, even when my kids, the first year they went, it was like, can you come look at this shop with me? I want to show you this thing over here. Hey, can we go take a look at this? I want to show you this thing.
Got it.
And that's when all of them were middle school and above.
Yeah.
I can't imagine taking a 5-year-old there. And
Yeah.
then, because then you're looking at face painting and like some of the rides.
Yep.
And I mean,
Yep.
you're doing those kind of things. You're not looking at, hey, they have, oxhorn mugs over here. I want to check that out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you just can't. It's a different experience.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. Like you can't do it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to make that any simpler. Like if anybody's trudging on a 5-year-old and you don't want to be selfish, you just can't do that. You can't go do your thing. So I think I think Ursula and I were talking about that we were like, we just couldn't do what we wanted to do to really soak this area up.
Yeah.
Because the minute we were to doing something, it was I had to go to the bathroom, or I'm hungry, or
Yep.
I'm really hot, or I don't want to be here, I want to be over there type thing,
Yeah.
So but anyway, I actually thought it was cool though. I didn't think what I was actually shocked by, and Ursula said this too, was that usually when you go to a Comic-Con,
Mhm.
and that's the thing that Ursula is most
Familiar with, yeah.
Yeah. I would say it's when we went, I would say the crowd was 75% not dressed up as anything. And there was the 25% crowd that
Okay.
went role playing. This is reversed. It was like 75% of the people there. It's like you went back in time. It's like 75% of the people there were like full out dressed up. And Ursula and I were like, whoa, wow, we didn't we didn't know. We didn't know it was
but that's okay. Like I didn't dress up for, and like I said, I've been going for 20-ish years, skipping a year here and there. I think I've dressed up 5 or 6 times.
Were you hot?
Maybe total. It got a little warm, like at times. Like there are parts of the fair where you just catch a better breeze.
Right.
But there was, I mean, and at like different points of the day.
Yeah.
I know, like if you go to the first jousting match, you're okay. If you go to the last, or either of the last 2 jousting matches, you are sitting in direct August sunlight.
Okay.
And that's rough.
Yeah.
Like, and my kids went to the last joust and they absolutely loved it. But I was like, nope. Like you're piled in there, like next to other people that it's just been, they're in costume and sweating their asses off all day. Yeah. And then you're going to go sit in direct August sunlight. And I'm just like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. Yeah. I enjoyed it though. I thought, I enjoyed it, but I think I would have enjoyed it more had it worked out differently. That's the only way I can say it.
I was a little shocked. And I understand that everybody's got to make money and you got to make your money back and do all that. But like, they used 2 beers for $22. Like that
was horrendous.
That's excessive. I mean,
that's completely excessive.
The cocktail costs are it's just dumb now. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, it's at that point where it's like, then you don't get one here.
Yeah. And I didn't.
And that's how they look at it. So
I didn't get a cocktail at all yesterday, which is strange. So
I got a beer and I thought that's it.
Yeah.
And everywhere I went, and I'll be honest, it was because of the lines. Everywhere I went, I'm like, waiting in line for an $11 beer. That's just not worth it. Not worth it today.
I mean, do I expect the prices to be a little bit elevated because
Yeah.
I'm at an event? Sure. Do I expect like stadium prices for like a professional,
Yeah.
like if you're going to a Brewer game or like a baseball game or a basketball game, football game? Do I expect those kind of prices? No, I don't. But
Do okay, so I was really impressed by the area because it looks like they keep that stuff up year round, right? They just cover it.
yeah, well, yeah. Well, I
Okay,
don't
I
even know
didn't know that.
how. Yeah, I don't know how covered some of those places are. Like if they have like fold down
Yeah.
shops, but the village is there year round. Like it is,
Is it
and I
open?
no,
Okay.
no, there's no shows, but I know um
No, I didn't mean shows.
that
Is it like
the
open to just hang out there?
nope, nope.
Okay.
They have caretakers that are there and doing things like because some of those shops are owned by the people.
Yes, I've noticed that. Yeah.
So like Mayhawk Armory, which is one of the ones that you saw when you first walked in, that guy owns that
That
shop. Like
stand, that
that's
shop.
his.
Yeah.
So it is up to him. And I think it's almost like a condo kind of thing. Like it's up to him to pay for repairs and make sure there's upkeep. He's got a whole apartment upstairs. Um
Oh, so
that
he's there for the month type
yeah.
almost.
Yep. He's there. Like that's where he kind of spends his summers there. And I was like, doesn't it get hot up there? He's like, I have a portable air conditioner up there that I get to turn on. And it's not like he's got a ton of square footage that he needs to
Right.
cool off.
Yeah.
He's like, no, up there is actually pretty livable. He's like, no, it's all and when I say modern conveniences, he's like, it's modern conveniences like a small apartment or like
You can
camping
get
kind of
by, you can
stuff.
get by
Yeah.
for a month. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So that's what he does.
Yeah. I went to the Opal, I think it's called the Opal Moon. It's just a
Okay.
costume shop. I went there
Oh, uh-huh. Yeah.
and when I looked it up online today, because I was wondering if you looked it up online, if like the prices were cheaper, or if you looked it up on Amazon, is it cheaper? Right. So I was looking,
Yeah.
I was just doing that. And when I looked up online there, the only place you can go is there to get it or online.
Yeah. Yep. A
Like the
lot.
address was where we went, and I was like, oh, that's their store.
Yeah.
Okay. Like
That's
there's not just some store they have like in, I don't know, like Kenosha and
right.
transfer it over there, but no, that's their store.
And that is totally dependent on the artisan that's there.
Okay.
We the where all the ladies got those flower crowns. I
Yeah.
don't know if
Yeah.
you noticed that.
I did.
We were talking to the flower crown lady, and she's like, as we're paying, uh, Chris is like, and you hand make it. She's like, yep, I hand make every single one of these. That's what
Wow.
I like. I just sit there and she's like, I'm binging Gilmore Girls again, and I'm just like, making flower crowns. And I said, and do you are you local or do you have to show? She's like, oh, I live in Kenosha. So that's her place.
Yeah.
And then so she gets to drive home every night
Right.
because Kenosha's not that far away.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody else, like if you're one of those places that's like this is your main gig, and then would you do other Renaissance fairs, but you're probably putting up a tent or
Yeah.
like a canvas tent kind of thing. Uh, that's their major thing.
Do
And
you know?
I talked to there's one acrobat group there called Barely Balanced. It's
Okay.
a 3-person acrobat troupe. And I remember talking with them. And I'm like, so what do you guys do like during the week? Like
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday is showtime.
Yeah.
What do you guys do? And she's like, oh, actually, they set up shows at like local libraries or like other organizations will bring them in to
Wow.
do so we're doing like mini shows all over like like central to southern Wisconsin and northern
A little bit of
Illinois.
north of Illinois. Yeah.
Yep. And so like we do that, and then we're just we've got so like if they put on shows Tuesday, Thursday, then or like if they put on shows Monday, Wednesday, they practice Tuesday, Thursday, Friday's a day off, and then they have shows Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
So that's their main thing. And then when this show ends, Labor Day, they live in a camper. There's like a little trailer park. I don't know if you saw that in the parking lot.
I didn't.
Everybody's got like their slide out campers, and then they hook up the fifth wheel and then they're off to the next town.
Oh, they go. So they travel.
Yeah,
Oh,
a lot of those
So it's almost like a carnival.
A little bit. A lot of those acts and artisans, they set up their own schedules. They're like, some people will be traveling to the, whatever the next Renaissance fair is in another state. Some of us go our separate ways. Some of us just go home. But yeah, it's kind of like living circus life for a little bit.
Do you feel, I have two questions actually for you. Do you feel, I'll go to the first question. Oh yeah. Do you feel like it would be better for us in this area if it happened in like September, October in the fall?
Yeah, that's an interesting topic, because I would love to see more fairs like in the fall, because
Right.
one, it's cooler. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people like seeing that.
Yeah.
I've heard of some, like there used to be one, I don't know if it's still there, but there used to be one in Janesville, Wisconsin, at one of their big parks where it happened. I don't know if it was a 1 day thing or just on a Saturday or a weekend or just on a Saturday, but there was a bigger one there. Beaver Dam had one for a couple of years that just never really took off, so that closed down.
Okay.
And that was like early fall, like mid-September or something like that. Yeah, and I know there's a place actually not too far away from me in Watertown, Wisconsin. It's an actual castle. Like a guy built a castle, or like had one transported over.
Yeah.
And they do weddings and stuff like that, but they're doing like just weekend events. Like, hey, we're gonna have this band in, but they encourage you to come in your costume.
Got it. Okay.
It would be interesting because like when I'm buying, like I bought my costume and I've got what I wore yesterday, the pirate thing, which
was that a pirate thing?
Yeah, that was a pirate theme. So like the pants I bought new this year, the shirt the sleeveless shirt I had on actually goes with my traditional kilt that I have.
Yeah.
And
I was shocked you didn't wear a kilt yesterday. I was shocked.
Well, it was Pirate Day, so
I didn't know.
I wore my pirate pants. The kilt, yeah. If we went on any other like theme day that it wasn't Pirate Day, I would have worn my traditional kilt and big belt and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. My second question is there a Mecca Renaissance Fair? Is there like a San Diego?
Oh, depends on who you ask. I think a little bit, like I've heard people say like this one, like the Bristol Renaissance Fair,
the big one
is like the show.
Okay.
That being said, I think the one in Minnesota, okay. See, this is where people start splitting hairs, where they say Bristol Renaissance Fair is the biggest Renaissance fair in the country. Okay. And I think what they say is it's got more square feet of fair space,
okay,
than anywhere else in the country. And you go, that's cool. But then you hear that the Minnesota Renaissance Fair is the biggest Renaissance fair in the country because it draws more people in.
Oh.
And you're like, part of me goes, well, that'd be fun to go to. But then after what we experienced yesterday, I go, so smaller square footage and more people.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to do that at all.
Yeah. That's not good. Yeah.
But it's better weather. It's cooler up there.
Yeah. Yeah. I would imagine.
And that's what I was gonna say. Like when I'm buying my costumes, I'm buying them for, July, August weather.
Yeah.
So if someone said to me in late November or December, hey, we're going to go to a Renaissance thing, can you dress up? I'd be like, I'm going to be cold.
Yeah.
I need to figure something out.
Cold.
I need to find a fur thing because
did you shave?
It did. Yeah. Yeah. I clipped.
Yeah. Cause it was pretty long yesterday.
It was like I could grab it. And Krista hates that. Like she doesn't really like it when it gets super long and scraggly, because I literally like I did this to kind of make it all poofy,
puff it out,
wild, because it was Pirate Day, and I mean, and after yesterday, you're like, I gotta take a shower after today because
I had to take a shower.
I am gross.
Ursula,
she's like, are you gonna shave your beard? She had not all off, but yeah.
Ursula had jeans on and a shirt and she brought a bomber jacket with her.
She did, yeah.
Now, this girl is okay. Usually, when it's 88, she's cold. It's not a joke. It's not an over exaggeration. That is my wife. And I've actually talked to her and said, like,
she's tiny. So,
yeah, I'm like, maybe you need to go to a doctor because if you're that cold, something's up.
You got circulation issues.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then I said, because the way you're acting, like sometimes it'll be like 85 and a wind will just kick in and she'll be like shaking. And I'm like, how do you survive winter? What the hell? Like, how are you doing this? So anyway, she was like so hot yesterday.
Yeah.
It was so funny because I was like, you're hot. She's like, oh my God, I'm so hot. I'm like, I don't know what's going on with you anymore. I can't read you. I can't figure you out because you tell me you're freezing. And what was weird was when we got out of the car, there was this breeze and there was no sun.
Yeah.
So it felt to me like it was 73. But I was like, this is great weather. I can live with this.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden we got there, right when we met you, it's like the sun came out.
Well, and you're in a walled city. I mean,
that's the other thing too. There was
village.
Zero breeze.
So there's not a lot of breeze going. Like when we left at like, it was after 7 because they were like herding people out.
Oh, okay.
As soon as we left the front gate, that breeze just hit you. You're like, oh, that's nice. I mean, because it doesn't penetrate through into the village.
Yeah, when we were leaving, the breeze hit us too, and I was like, oh, that's what a breeze is.
Yeah. People are like, it'll be a beautiful day at the fair. It's almost like when you're at a professional football game, they're like, okay, it's a beautiful day. It's 70 in the stands and 114 on the field. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, to I guess sum it up, it was an experience that I enjoyed, but I want to go back again to experience it differently.
And even my good friend,
I might just go by myself.
I wish you would have hung out with Dan and Maggie a little bit more, but like, because we had another set of friends there, and like, I don't think at any point were the three of us ever together. Did you see Dan?
I did not at all.
Yeah, and so I don't think he did, because he had his 3 kids there, and his 3 kids want to do rides, and hey, look at this, and his 6-year-old's like, I want to go look at the dragons and the knights and buy action figures, and then his one daughter's like, I want elf ears, and then his other daughter, who's not happy about anything, she's like, okay, I hate it here. And so like he's trying to manage all of them, and like my kids, this was the first year
you were like, go.
Well, the last couple of years I'm like, oh, like, I've given you cash. You know where the food is. You know where your favorite shops are. Fuck off. Go do your thing. I'm like, let me walk around at my pace. Like, I don't want to have to duck into the whatever store
and look at what you're looking at
because you want me to see what you want.
Right.
I mean, like, I didn't want to do that. They took off. So it was just Chris and I walking around for most of the day. And that was awesome. Like, we haven't done that where like it was just the 2 of us walking around the fair for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
So that was cool. Again, it would have been better if we would have like gotten a couple cocktails or something like that. But it's like, do you want to wait 30 minutes for a drink? No, okay, let's just keep walking.
30 minutes. You're lucky if you get to 30.
It was. I
can't imagine that it went that slow. Like, I was in a line. I was kind of dicking around. I went into a line while they went to the bathroom, and I'm like, how far am I going to move? And I moved this much by the time they came back. And I'm like, how hard is it to, like, here's your beer. Next. Here's your 2 drinks. Next.
They moved to fountain drinks, like for like soda and lemonade and stuff. They moved to fountain drinks. I'm like, why would they do that? Because it used to be just the bottles. Like, lemonade was Dole lemonade in a bottle. I'll take 2. Great. Here you go. I mean, it's just off the shelf. And they stopped doing that. Now they have the canisters and they got to pour everything. And I'm like, you guys need to figure that out. Like, you got to speed this up a little bit.
Yeah, I think so too, because I barely moved, and I was that is the one thing I was thinking to myself. Like, and look, I know that they have some people there that are just there to do a job, and they are told by their boss they can't do certain things. But if a person comes up to you and says, I need a bottle of water. I think a guy is having heat stroke.
Right.
Don't look at me like this girl said to me, she goes, "Oh, I can only give you ice." I said, "Did you hear what I'm saying? Did you hear what I just said?"
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, "Give me a bottle of water right now." And she goes, Dave.
Yeah.
Dave comes over and he goes, "Yeah, what's up, man?" I'm like, "Look, dude, heat stroke. Give me a bottle of water now." And he goes, or I said, "Just a glass of water. Just give me a glass of water." And he goes, "Okay, can you hang out here until security comes?" I'm like, "No, I'm going to give the guy some water and then I'll come back if you think I'm
Yeah.
trying to rip off water from you." And he's like, "No, man. I just need security." I'm like, "Look, we're in the awning. We're over there. You'll see us.
Yeah.
I'll flag you down." So I just thought that was bullshit how slow to response they were.
Right.
I was like, dude.
And that's why I mean, like, it seemed like an off year from the running of the fair.
Okay.
Like,
So it didn't seem
because, well, yeah, like they weren't prepared for the amount of people.
amount of
And,
people.
and that's another thing that we heard is like they weren't expecting the masses to come out as much as they did.
Was
Like,
that just that day or was that
I don't know. I don't know. I would love to like look up a message board or whatever just to get a little bit more in depth. Or I don't know if they have like a response, like, hey, give us your feedback.
Yeah.
Because I mean, and it's mostly high school and college students that are running the food booths. I mean,
Right,
you could
yeah.
tell. I mean, the kitchen's in the back. They don't let you look because they don't want to, it's like Disney. They don't want to ruin the mystique. So they cover up all that with facade. But you can tell there's like a real kitchen in the back. And that I could tell was like like I don't say adults, but like older people that are experienced in kitchens.
Yeah.
You can hear them slinging the food in the back.
Yeah.
And then the quote unquote wenches up in front,
Yeah.
the ones serving the food, it's not that hard. I mean, it's, give me a slice of pizza. I need a pepperoni. Okay, boom. And it's really like a twist. Turn around, there's your stuff, take your money.
Yeah.
But even that just seems slow.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, you're right.
and it just seemed like they were just moving slow.
Yeah.
And there was a definitely when in the line I was in for my lunch, there was a lack of energy there that usually exists.
Yeah.
Like, when you leave a tip, they ring the bell, it's on to the tipper and whole thing. And it was just, she's like, thank you. And then like,
Yeah.
and that was it. And I was like, whew, okay, tougher room.
Yeah. There were some guys in there in costumes, like big time. Like there was what was the one that Gwen took a picture with?
I think he was a Minotaur. I think
Okay.
that's the look he was going for. Did fantastic job, but man,
Yeah.
full furs and leathers and a latex mask.
Latex mask, big horns. Oh my god, he had to be just dying.
Yeah,
And
we saw him leaving, and he was still keeping his energy up. He was good. That was the other thing. Watching people leave the fair as we're waiting for our teens to get to us.
Yeah.
People that like, I don't know if they just ignored the water or what, but like they were just they were looked awesome at the beginning of the day, and now they have just melted. Like
yes.
like their faces are literally like, oh my god, as they're headed out. I'm like, dude, you gotta stay hydrated.
My daughter had also took a picture with 3 guys that I think were playing. 2 of them were playing griffins, and one was
Okay.
like I think it was a fox.
Okay. Oh wait, so. Yeah. The for lack of a better word, the furries that were there. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, or like something you'd find at a mascot, like
yeah.
Yeah. So those were
and again,
so
good looking dude, great costumes, really good job. But yeah, that had to be warm.
Yeah.
I came across the picture didn't turn out as well as I wanted it to, but we went there by some picnic tables there, and there was a group of they were Templars. They were all Templar knights.
Yeah. I saw a couple of those,
complete with the full beards. I mean, the guys were like in their 50s or 60s, and you could tell they were worn out, and they're all just kind of like leaned over the picnic table, just kind of looking battle weary.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, don't move. But can I grab a picture of all of you right now?
Yeah.
Because you just look awesome. Like old weary knights.
Yes.
Like it looks great.
Got done with the battle.
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, okay. And then like one dude kind of like he got in the picture and it just changed the aesthetic of the picture, and I'm like, thanks, sir. Click. Okay, thanks. But yeah, they look.
Thank you
cool.
very much. But you ruined it, sir.
Yeah. You. Yeah.
Did you see the troll on the bridge or the gargoyle on the bridge? There was a gargoyle on top of the roof next to the fencing where they were teaching kids the fence. There was a gargoyle on top of a roof.
I saw him when he hopped down. He was like all gray.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at the weapon shop that was there, Arms and Armor.
Scaring the hell out of 20 somethings and little kids. My daughter saw it and was like, hey, she didn't care. She wasn't scared. So I was like, that's my girl.
They used to have, I didn't see him yesterday, but it's like a dance troupe almost. And they're head to toe black, like even their faces covered with that black mesh. And they're like whirling around in formation. And behind them is like a person on stilts with like the goat skull mask on, and I mean, it looks really cool, but I didn't see them.
Did you see that guy that looked like a puppet? He was like from here up was like little baby legs and little baby arms, and he had the adult head.
The baby guy,
yeah, that was creepy, wasn't it?
I can't stand the baby guy.
Yeah, that was creepy.
I mean, because it's hard to see his feet on the stilts because it's this, but it's his voice. I mean, you're like, oh, shut up! I can't take you.
Yeah, there was another guy with a goat head type thing walking around.
Yeah.
Goat skull walking around. Gwen thought he was cool too.
I saw The Witcher.
Yes, I saw the guy that was the trainer of The Witcher, and then The Witcher, and then Ciri.
Yeah, they were all walking around.
Yeah,
and I told my buddy Dano, he's like, "Did you get a picture of that guy?" Because he's a big Witcher fan. And I happened to be walking down, and I saw him. I'm like, "Hey, buddy, can I grab your picture real quick?" He's like, "Well, you can, but it's more fun if you're in it." I said, "I'm just want to get a picture of you for my friend." And he's talking to me like I didn't understand. Like he's like, "No, I cosplay to get pictures. Like this is part of the fun." I'm like, "Okay." And so I got in the picture, but like he's already about my height.
Yeah.
And then he was standing like on a upward hill, just like a couple inches. So it looks like we're standing next to each other. So he looks gigantic, which is great. Yeah. And then I talked to him. He gave me his card. He had a laminated card. He's like, "Well, if you want to tag me, if you're going to post that anywhere, just tag me in it because I'd like to see my own pictures and then I help people have a good time at the fair." And then by that time, the other folks were around me. In fact, his wife, who was dressed up as Yennefer, she took the picture for us.
I have such a crush on Yennefer.
And I said,
that actress, I have such a crush on that girl.
I had asked, I said, "Well, are you part of a troupe or something like that?" And they're like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Well, like I know in Chicago, there's a group of like Ghostbuster cosplayers.
Yeah. That
they go to charity events.
Or the 501st.
Oh, yeah. Or Vader's 501st. And that's when, as soon as I said, they looked at me when I said the Ghostbusters thing. They're like, I said, or like Vader's 501st. They're like, "Oh, yeah, the 501st. Yeah, we've heard of them." And so I'm like, "Yeah, they go to they do charity events." So I said, "You obviously know The Witcher is a big novel series. Like when the next one comes out, like if the library, one of your local libraries wanted to do a thing, you and your group show up to the new Witcher book being premiered." And they're like, "No, we've never thought of that. That's a good idea."
Oh my God.
I'm like, "Well, don't credit me with that idea. That is my idea." So yeah, hopefully they get turned on to like doing more community events, stuff like that. It was cool.
So your friend's a Witcher fan?
Yeah, my buddy Dan, he likes.
Okay, is Dan a fan of the Netflix, the book, or the video games?
It started with the video games, and then that moved into the Netflix series. And I know he said he's just now reading the first book.
Okay,
like he's like so I'm almost done with it.
Okay,
so yeah, he's doing it like in reverse, not reverse order, but a different order. Like he's learning the series.
Yeah. You see any movies this week?
Oh no, I did. I saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Friday.
Thursday.
How'd it go?
It's good. It focuses much more on the teenage part of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They change their backstory slightly. Like it's the whole Splinter like being the pet of of
Ninja Master.
and yeah, they don't do any of that. But they, they get hit with the U's, and Splinter pretty much teaches them martial arts based off of movies and then a couple magazines and books that he picked up.
Oh no.
And I'm like, sure, okay.
Yeah, right.
I'm already suspending my belief on what's possible as I'm watching.
However, well, I mean, either way they ever did it.
Yeah.
I think the original thing wasn't Splinter actually a man that got mutated into a rat?
I always thought he was a rat that mutated into a man, but I'm not 100% sure.
Because I've never bought the idea, which is funny because you're right about the whole, like, look, I'm already suspending my like belief system, and like I can picture Ninja Turtles, but I can't picture how the rat learned it. So I think it's maybe because I watched the first movie where the rat's doing kung fu in the cage as he's watching his master do work.
No, it was originally Splinter was a vengeance consumed rat who gained human level sentience through accidental mutation.
Okay, so he taught himself. He's self-taught in ninjutsu.
Yeah, by watching his master.
Okay. So his master kept a pet rat.
Correct.
Basically, yeah, okay. All right.
And it's, I mean, I don't
know why, but I have a hard time with that.
Okay. That's understandable. When it comes to animated martial arts films,
yes,
every movie is currently being compared to the first Kung Fu Panda film, because I find that to be an excellent martial arts film.
Yeah.
They have like one scene in there where I'm like, oh, this is actually like a martial arts fight, maybe two. When the first fight they get into in a garage, that's pretty cool. And then Splinter has a fight where Splinter is voiced by Jackie Chan.
Okay.
And I swear the producers, animators, whoever, just must have went to Jackie Chan and said, how would you choreograph this fight? Because it is a pure Jackie Chan fight.
Okay.
Where, Splinter gets kicked and he lands in an office chair. When he stands up, the office chair is stuck to his butt. So then he's kind of fighting with the office chair a little bit, using it as an improvised weapon. So things like that. I'm like, oh yeah, Jackie Chan fight. But it was good. I hope they make more. The ending is different than any other turtle stuff they've done in the past.
Okay.
So you can see kind of a path to this kind of arcing reality kind of piece. But it's good.
I'm waiting for the dark version of that. How it was originally made.
Right. There's a story out there called The Last Ronin.
Yep.
Super dark.
Yep.
Super dark.
Yep.
There was talk of them doing an animated, like maybe Netflix doing an animated piece, and that would be interesting because that is not very chill.
Yeah, that's very dark. They all have red bandanas, so none of them are color coordinated.
The original ones,
the original are all red bandanaed, and they're like, it's like if the pun it's kind of like if the Robins, like Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, who are the other ones? Drake.
Tim Drake.
Tim Drake and the new one, Damon. If they all were just like no holds barred badasses, because the Robin family are badasses, but they always have a level where they'll never go past.
Right.
Ninja Turtles,
they originally didn't. Yeah, they were. The Foot Clan were not robots like they were in the cartoon.
Yes. And they were slicing up people. Yep.
They were using their weapons appropriately.
Yes.
So that was, I remember do you remember when the first Ninja Turtle movie came out? I think it was like 80.
We talking about the
original guys in suits.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
1988 or 1989.
Yes.
I remember watching the news and they're like, parents leave, kids movie, because they did that. Like, oh, they're ninjas. They live in the sewers. This is kind of dark. I mean, it was kind of light, but during the fight scenes, it was a martial arts film. Like they had martial arts experts and they're doing stuff.
1990.
So
1990.
year after Batman, that's what it was. And then so they kind of went that route where it was like Batman was a little bit darker, so they took
Yep.
Ninja Turtles a little bit darker. And because it wasn't the Saturday morning cartoon that people were accustomed to,
Right.
it was more like the original comic. Parents were pissed.
Yes.
So then the rest of those movies, the Guys in Suits movies, were just terrible cartoonish versions.
Yes, they were. Yep.
So
Yeah.
and this is a good balance of cartoon stuff, and then like they're dealing with like teen issues a little bit of like belonging and self-worth and things like that. So I mean, it's
What did you
heavy.
think of the one that Michael Bay did?
Had a lot of potential, but
I think so.
didn't quite fire on all cylinders. And I saw a interview with Alan Richardson, the guy who plays Reacher. Yeah, they treated them terribly. And this even goes back to the strike because they weren't considered actors.
Right.
Even though they're using their likeness, using their voice, using their body movements, they were considered motion capture artists.
Yeah.
So they weren't considered actors.
Right.
So like their contract was not written like actors. I remember he said they were stranded in a parking lot.
Yep.
For like 3 hours.
No food, no water.
No food, no water is because they're like the union rule state. Hey, we got to get the cast and off of this mountain or whatever out of this location before the contract time state. So they were giving everybody rides back. They're like, not you guys, because you don't classify as actors.
I remember that. Yeah.
And they just treated them like shit.
And they also like, I think even when they never catered for them, they would just get like a sandwich.
Yeah. Because they weren't part of the cast, more or less.
They were treated like shit. I remember.
And I remember when they brought them back for the sequel, like the four of them had to like band together. They're like, no, we need to be treated better. We're not doing this again. I've never been treated as poorly on a film as on that set. No, man, it's going to be better. It's going to be better. They're like, it was fractionally better.
Yeah.
Like it still wasn't like they were treated well.
Right.
Which is part of the reason why you never saw that third one, because they had a third one that they wanted to make.
The only part I liked about that movie, I mean, it had potential. There were a couple of things, but I like that one where when they're in the elevator.
The elevator and they're beatboxing. Yeah, that was funny.
DJ Mikey. And they start going nuts. Yeah. That was a cool part. But other than that, I was kind of like, oh man, it could have been better. I mean, that snow scene was cool, but at the same time, it wasn't cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yep. It was neat. And you're going, what are they doing? Like there was like whatever the motivation was for that to happen seemed silly.
Yes.
To the point where I don't even remember it.
Right. Yeah. I don't know why they were going downhill either. I just remember they're sliding down the hills on their shells, and they're like, at the same time, I think there's some sort of Jeep that's going down too, or something like that. That's where I don't remember.
So the bad guy, it was like a chase scene. The bad guys were coming after them, and you're like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. Yeah. You didn't do you have an opinion about Secret Invasion?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. Did you finish it? Did you finally finish it?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'll be honest, I don't care.
Watched it all. Will it have impact on the MCU? It could. Like if they decide to do more with the Skrulls, it certainly could.
Yeah.
The way they did the Super Skrull.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I know how they did that. Yeah.
And I just go, no, like that doesn't work. I mean,
I think they took such a good idea, and I felt like they watered it down.
No, I don't think they watered it down at all. I think they made it too big.
Oh, I don't, because big to me would involve superheroes.
Well, the Super Skrull. No, I mean the idea of the Super Skrull.
Oh, sorry, I meant the entire thing, taking the
entire thing. Okay. Yeah, I could see. Yeah, they didn't go big enough with the invasion piece. Like there should have been more. Like humanity still doesn't know.
Like I just feel like the biggest thing was that we found out Roddy was a
Skrull. Like the whole time, like since Endgame.
Yeah. Like, okay.
Yeah. And you go, So what does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. You're just
And that's just it the whole time. Like when they're this person's scroll, this person's, you're like, what does that mean? Like
yeah.
what's the
What do you do? What did you do?
you've set up a world where you expect everything to be have an effect and actually have meaning. And so
Yeah.
like if you when you're finding out that so and so is a scroll, you're all and
Yeah.
so that's where I think
Exactly.
because they didn't do it. They meant for it to be a Disney Plus series only, and that's what they delivered. Because then you're going, well, I suppose. I mean, I don't see where any of the movies are gonna pick up on
after
this.
that. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so it goes back to the argument where I think the MCU is just too big,
Yeah.
and they're too big for their britches, and they've lost some of their direction.
Mhm.
And now even like I hate to say it, but even some of their bad guys, they're like, they cast them, but they didn't really get a good background check done on them. So you're like, well, do we still cast this guy as the
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
him as, I mean, how do we do all that?
Yeah.
So
I am looking forward to Loki season 2.
yeah, that looks good. And I know you're not a big fan, but the Marvels, I think, looks like a decent film, or at least a fun movie.
Maybe.
I find the girl who plays Kamala Khan just cute as a button. And
I think she's very cute, but
I'm not looking for that movie to have a big lasting impact on the MCU.
Right. Okay.
If that's just a standalone, here's a movie about these three characters, cool. Like
Yeah.
that's what I want.
Okay. Yeah. I know Kamala Khan's very popular with comic book readers.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she almost became this generation's Spider-Man.
Oh, yes. They very much try to do that. In fact, and you can see where like the MCU and Marvel Comics are two separate entities. Like they're not owned by the same people anymore.
Right.
And they just killed Kamala Khan in the comics.
Uh-oh.
Well, they I say just, they killed her like 6 months ago, 7 months ago.
Okay. She's coming back soon.
She's already back. She's already back with a new power set that matches more of the movie version than what she was in the comic book version. So they're trying to capitalize on that. I don't know. I don't even know what, like, comic book movies are kind of rough right now. Like
I agree.
They just delayed Craven. Sony delayed Craven.
Yep.
Even though that movie's like done and in the bag, but with the actor strike, they're like, we don't know if we can get our actors to promote the film, and that film needs promotion.
Yes.
So, because even at the Barbie movie, there was a girl behind us, and we were watching the Craven trailer. She's like, "Who's Craven?" They're like, "Well, he's a Spider-Man villain," and they're like, "So he looks like a hero, though. How are they gonna how's he gonna be the bad guy in a Spider-Man film?" And the next Spider-Verse film is delayed indefinitely because
I hate that. I hate that saying indefinitely. What does that mean?
Okay, let me tell you what it means. The animation's done. The story's done. Animation's done. The voice actors have not recorded their piece yet. And because there's no end in sight for the strike, they can't put a date on when they're going to be able to bring the
What do you mean? It just means that you can't give a date.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's all that means. That's what because they use that term with sports too, is like he's injured indefinitely. And I'm like, does that mean forever? He's retiring, it's over? Like, what do you mean indefinitely?
It means they don't know. Like they don't know when he's going to come back or so yeah, but because they don't know when the actor is going to be coming in and record their voices, it's indefinitely delayed, which is sad because people really want the second half of that story.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah, you're leaving everybody on a cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
I have the worst internet today.
Speaking of sports, it's kind of our last topic here. Have you been paying attention at all to what's happening in college sports this weekend?
Oh my God, it's all messed up.
It is so jacked.
And it's all because of money. It's a money grab. It's not about tradition. It's not about what's fair to the students. It's not about is even what's fair to the university. It's a money grab. That's
Yeah.
all it is. It's such a mess. I think they had good ideas, but
Yeah.
they didn't think through those good ideas. And now it's just boom. It's like just become this expanded universe that nobody planned for. And now they don't know what to do.
Well, and I'm looking like the Big Ten is gigantic now.
Huge.
Like
They
you got
have
the
four teams that used to be part of the Pac-12. So the Pac-12 is
yeah,
gone,
yeah,
basically. And I think USC, which is so weird. USC, UCLA, Oregon, and somebody else. I don't know who the last team is. Maybe Washington.
Washington. It's Washington.
Is in the Big Ten, which
Yep.
is so weird.
Yep. This is where I had sent you
Yes, I watched
the video of the Minnesota, not Minnesota,
the Missouri
coach. Yeah.
Missouri
And he's
coach.
like, football will be fine. We'll survive.
Yes.
Like, he's like, but did we even consider these other student athletes like volleyball? He's like, I believe basketball was probably thought about,
Yes,
but like volleyball, track,
Gymnastics,
baseball, softball. He's like, those athletes,
swimming.
he's like, they fly commercial.
Yep.
He's like, they literally have to fly out on a Thursday night to compete on a Friday to get back on a plane commercially to be back in class by Monday. Or like if they compete on a Saturday, Sunday, and they got a class on Monday.
Somewhere along there, they got to study for whatever's going on.
Yeah. He's like, did any university officials even think about those kids? He's like, they thought about football. He's like, football, we get chartered flights. He's like, it's not a big deal for us.
Right.
It's like, but
the other thing he was thinking about
anything.
also, I mean, he brought up a good point is NIL. Yeah, you can go get your name, image, and likeness, but you got to go look for it. No one's going to help you here.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to go get yours. And so now you're adding a new thing on top of whatever they're already dealing with. It's a lot now to be a student. So it wouldn't surprise me now. And now you got transfer portals. Like
that's another thing that's just jacked up the game.
Oh my God.
Or any of it.
It's so crazy. Yeah, it's so crazy. Like the minute they opened this up, and it shows me that look, however you managed college before with the NCAA, it's not going to work anymore.
No,
I don't think you got to tear that down and you got to just rebuild
it. And I mean, and they are kids. I mean,
yes.
I'm 45 now, so I feel like I'm okay calling a college student a kid. They don't have agents or handlers like professionals do, so they are just trying to wing this with like mom and dad or some other entity that's like, we're going to focus on you and still work within the college rules, but they are just pure up commodities. Like how much money, like even there's got to be somebody out there who's just looking at like offensive linemen. We're going to be representing college offensive linemen as best we can, doing the ILL stuff, getting a little cut, even though they know like hardly any of them are ever going to go on to play pro anything. And they're just, I mean, that's like the penny stock trades of going to be of these representatives. Yeah. They're just going to be sniping at these kids, pouring whatever onto these kids' psyches to make them think that they're going to be huge. And when they're not, that's going to break them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think Greg, by the time you and I are old, to the point of where we're sitting there, and I mean old like 80s, we'll be bitching and moaning about how the NFL was way better back when we watched it, back when we were kids. And I think we'll be right. I think the NFL is going to go down the tube. I think because it's not about the product anymore. It's about how much can the product make. That's all it's about.
Totally what it is.
Every decision is based off of that. It will not be based off of health, which is a fuck. The fact that the NFL was like, we're about players' safety, but we're going to add on 2 more games.
Yeah.
You're not. Oh, I'm sorry. 1 more game. They're going to add on another.
We were talking to a college athlete. She was a gymnast, and she just transferred schools to kind of come back to something closer to home, because where she was, it wasn't SC or UCLA gymnastics, which are just machines for
Yes.
the Olympics. It wasn't even that level. It was like a more mid-level,
Right.
but she had to be at practices like 5:30 in the morning. And not that saying that that's terrible, but like the way her coach ran it, if you were not 10 minutes early, you were late. So practices at 5:30, but practice really, if you're not on the mat practicing by 5:20, you're late. And push-ups until you puke. It was just like torture kind of stuff. Just the
Well,
very, very little sleep.
the time thing, I'm 100% behind that.
Well,
I can't stand lateness, and it drives me insane that I've had to bend the knee at my house to lateness just to get along.
But on the other end of that, would you like if you said you have to be 10 minutes early and then punish them if they're on time, like when you say practice starts at 5, because it was a pure on punishment. And if you were late more than like twice, you're off the team. And so, but then they were also practicing, like their night practices were going until midnight or 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And so now these athletes still have to find time to do homework and study for a test. This girl's anxiety was going through the roof to the point where she couldn't sleep. Yeah. And then she was getting no sleep and had to be up at practice. She's getting up at 5 to get to practice.
Yeah, I don't believe that has a lot to do with time. That has to do with maybe they shouldn't be practicing twice a day. Like that's pretty insane. But if you're telling me that
it was just the level of
having anxiety because she has to be 10 minutes early, I'm not buying that. I can't believe that's the thing that. But
there's a whole mess of other things.
But
it was more like
there has to be, because it's insane.
Yeah.
What they're asking college kids to do now, it's insane because money's behind it. So they're pushing you because money's behind it. And somebody's pushing the coach because money's behind it. And it's just when money got involved in sports, took it all out. It's not fun anymore. Because it's not about how much, it's about how much you can get for that. That's it. Sucks. Anyway, speaking of sucks, how do you think your Packers are going to do this year? I know you and I haven't watched one game. We haven't watched one preseason. I don't even know how the Bears are going to do. What do you think? Just on
I don't even know if I can. I haven't. Did the Packers play a preseason game already? No, I didn't think so. I haven't seen anything.
It's all this coming weekend.
Yeah. Well, I watched a little bit of the Jets Browns game.
Right.
And my family immediately was like, "Are we watching football?" And I'm like, "Motherfucker." I hate that. I hate it when it's like this is like the one sport I get into. I mean,
and how dare you get into that?
They don't know how good they have it as far as like upper Midwestern American dads go.
They don't
don't have
any idea.
It could be if there was a sport. I mean, if sports were on, we were watching it. Like there were not my dad, but I know other guys that it's like the worst time of the year for their family is like May and June when it is basketball, baseball.
Yeah, because they're constantly watching everything, right?
Yeah, they're there's 3 major sports on at the same time. Yeah. And then when NASCAR is starting up or whatever cup is starting up, and then the Masters tournament for golf is going to be on, and like, let's watch a little bit of tennis too. Yeah. Like they don't know how well they have it.
No, I'm with you. In fact, it pisses me off at my house. I get this. I get that too. You know what's actually annoying the hell out of me lately? And it shouldn't annoy me, but it annoys me. Ursula looks for every opportunity she can to rip on Indiana Jones, and it makes me mad.
Ooh.
I don't like. I asked her too. I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, what are you getting from it? You're making me mad. What are you getting from it? She's like, she didn't like the last movie.
Okay.
I'm like, okay. There were 3 ones in the 80s that millions of people loved. I'm like, it's not just me. It's not like I just like, and I'm like, I let you watch your below deck bullshit, and I let you watch all these stuff, and I don't say a damn word about any of that crap. And
because reality TV is trash.
Yes. And I said, in the minute like anything comes up and I don't even bring it up. You just sit there and go, well, that was better than Indiana Jones. I'm like, why would you say that? What's wrong with you? Why would you do that? So anyway,
Well,
yeah. Ursula,
as far
don't
as
be
where
a
the
douche.
yeah, as far as where the Packers are going to go, I really have no idea. I will be happy, same goal every year, make the playoffs. But at the same time, if we don't make the playoffs, I know what that's like. And I don't know. I thought Love looked pretty good when he did play, and hopefully he's gotten the reps in and the experience now to be a decent quarterback. I don't know.
Do you think this is going to be finally the year where I get to wear my hat, or you get to?
No. I think that is a very, yeah. I think because it's the first game of the year.
Yes, first game of the year.
Yeah. I think the Bears have done their rebuilding, and
we're still there, but I think we're ahead of our rebuilding. That's all.
Yeah. I think you're ahead of the Packers in terms of like figuring some shit out. So yeah, that could be.
I think the Bears are going to be what the Detroit Lions were last year. That's my best case scenario. Like they're just on the cusp of getting into the playoffs, and they just gotta, they're one or two. You know what I mean? They're on the bubble. That's what I think it's going to be. But anyway, all right, man. It's that time. It's that time.
It is that time. Just go through your weekend. Go through your week and don't be a douche.
There you go. So for the Greg, this is Johnny saying thank you for watching. To that 100th subscriber we just got on YouTube. Thank you. We got a little
thanks, buddy.
we got a little thing in the email that said like you have 100 subscribers now. So that was cool. Appreciate that, guy. Whoever you are, I appreciate it. So again, take care. Podcast out. Have a great week.